You're about to witness the strength of Mr. B, MVP.
Oh shit, it's about to get real up in this bitch.
Hey folks, it's me, it's Mr. B, YouTube's MVP and greatest Twitch streamer in the world. And I'm here to completely screw up the program, throw the YouTube's guide to reviews out the damn window, and do things a new way, a way it should be done. Are you sick of YouTubers spending 10 minutes of your time just to get to the point, is the game good enough? Well, from now on, I'm telling you in the first 2 minutes of the video whether or not it's worth your money, and from that point, you can decide whether or not you want to listen to how I came to that conclusion. Simple as that. And in the spirit of that, today I'm reviewing the first review of Mr. B MVP here, I might add, Fury Unleashed. A game that is out for PS4, PC, Xbox and Switch today. And boy oh boy am I glad to tell you this game receives a mega endorsement from me. It is fantastic, it's a fun side scroller, definitely worth its money. It's certainly good for 3 or 4 hours bash, you know, if you want to kill time. Amazing game. Want to find out how I got to that conclusion? Listen on. But now you know you can go out and spend that money and get downloading it while you're listening. So, how have I come to that conclusion? Well, what is Fury Unleashed? So basically, Fury Unleashed is a side-scroller, roguelite platforming game with all sorts of fun challenges, co-op capability. For what it is, decent graphics and a very fun gaming loop, which focuses more on leveling up your character than anything else. For those of you who are like me, who sort of worry about, you know, things like skill and difficulty curves and all that sort of thing, I'm happy to tell you that this game has probably one of the most adaptive difficulty settings I've seen in any game. You can control how, obviously, easy, hard, or stupidly hard, but you can also go in and fine-tune how the enemies respond to you, how they attack, the aggressive and things like that. So you can pretty much tune the game to how you want it. Do you just want to sit back and have an easy experience and get through the game and see what it's like, or do you want a tougher experience, but you can literally gauge to how you want? Another thing that I really like is the game's premise. You take control of a hero that you can customize in any way you want, or within the parameters of the game, and you write his story, in effect. You go into each comic, each sort of comic is its own little story as you go through, and you work your way through the comic. Now, it does have a mechanic, like a soft permadeath mechanic, where the idea is, you, on your very first time going through the comic, you will not get through all of it. It's physically impossible. But what happens is every time you kill something, you gain experience and little ink dots and all that sort of, you pick up ink and all that sort of stuff. And as you gain in experience, every time you die, you go in and you upgrade your character. And then you take that character back into the comic, you start from chapter 1 again and get a little bit further. And then you die. And then you rinse and repeat. And that's what I mean by a very satisfying gaming loop that concentrates more on character progression. So every time you die, you take your XP, you level up your character, and so on and so on. And it allows you to get through the comic, which means that although it could seem repetitive, it's repetitive in the same way that Monster Hunter is repetitive. It's the same sort of thing. You go out, you get bitch slapped, you know, use what you've got just to create some better armor and go forth. It's the same sort of gaming loop, and I like that. I like that sort of gaming loop in games because it gives you a clear route of what you're supposed to be doing. It's not like a big RPG where you stood there with the wide open map thinking about, well, what do I do next? It's quite simple. How far can I get through this comic on this time? Through the whole game, or in each comic, there's about sort of 10 boss battles per comic. It's about 14 total, so it's the way it spreads out. And the boss battles, although can be a little simple at times, you know, they're fun and engaging, and this game is based on fun, pure fun, nothing else. It's there to have a good time with, and I'm not a big fan of side scrollers, and for this game to impress me the way it has is why I say it gets a massive endorsement from me. Now, there are things as well, like, there are things that you do have to get used to. It's not as simple as jump in and play. It's not like a USB stick where you plug in and away you go. There are things to get used to, like the controls. The controls for the basic parts of it, are relatively simple. You use one stick to move, another stick to aim. Jumping is jumping up and down. You got your double jump, you got your sprint buttons and all that sort of thing. It's when you start trying to avoid the blasts and avoid the different dangers around the world, like the spinning blades and things like that, that's where you can quite easily come undone, and I'll tell you for why. The game's combat mechanics relies you to build up combos, and the way you build up combos is by not getting hit by weapons or world things like the spinning blades. Now, the biggest sort of downside to that is it takes a little bit of time to get used to moving your character around in a competent way whilst avoiding being hit, because you really want to get good at that, as building up the combos gives you extra powers. It gives you extra powers like a personal shield and etc, etc. I'm not going to spoil it for you because obviously it is all to do with progressing your characters. What's the point if I spoil it all for you, tell you what you can get? But let's just say that the combos initiate your powers. So if you're not getting any combos because you're getting hit all the time, you're not going to go very far. With that being said, there are enough fun gameplay elements in this whole package that makes the time it takes to get skilled in this game quite enjoyable. One thing I have to remark on is the amount of different weapons and variety of weapons that I've come across in the first couple of hours of playing. I had a gun that shot saw blades, I had rail rifles, Uzis, submachine guns, shotguns, Kimbo, a massive amount of melee weapons as well, because there is a decent melee system in this game too. It is clear when I see things like that, it is clear that the devs who put this together care about this title and wanted to make it the pinnacle side-scrolling game on any console. I am telling you now that if this game came out even with a downgrading graphics on the Mega Drive back in the day, or even PlayStation 1, it would have been a cult classic. It's only because we're now used to games like Red Dead Redemption, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, etc, etc, that we're a bit spoilt with graphics. But if you think about it from back in the day, like PS1 days, when you had Abe's Odyssey and those types of games, if this game had came out then, right now we'd have been looking at like companies like EA trying to re-release it because it would have been a cool classic. This game is enjoyable, it's fun to play, it's easy to get used to, it's good for any skill level, and at the end of the day, I cannot think of a better side scroller out there, and I'm including all the big titles like Dead Cells, Mega Man and all that sort of thing. This right now, Fury Unleashed right now, is as good as a side-scroller gets. End of discussion, end of argument. And when you take into consideration its price point, it blows your mind. It's easy, 7.5, 8 out of 10, easily. And I only knock its points because I'm a graphics whore. But right now on the PS Store, it's $18.99. On Steam, it's like £16.50. Microsoft can kiss my ass, you know me, I don't do Xbox, I don't do Microsoft, but if you're an Xbox fan, just go into your store and find out how much it's worth, and then while you're at it, go find the cost of a second-hand PS4 and come and join the light side, where the intelligent people are. So there you go, that is why I say this game right now is well worth its money. It's absolutely worth a buy. It's perfect for people who don't have a lot of time to game. It's alright me sat on my arse 18 hours a day playing games, but if I'm the type of person where I might have an hour or two here or 3 or 4 hours there and I just want something to take my mind off the world, this is the perfect game. Absolutely 100% the perfect game. And for the price point, you can't argue with it. It's worth a punt just to see if I'm right. So there you go. So that's my review on this game. If you've enjoyed this video and you like the style where I tell you if it's worth it or not right at the beginning, get in the comment section and let me know. If you think more TubeUbers, in fact I'm saying that from now on, if more TubeUbers should do it that way, get it in the comments and let me know. If you hated this review, get in the comments and let me know. As always, thank you for listening. Until next time, that's all from me, Mr. B. Ta-ta for now.